Okay. And okay, now I'm going to start the recording, and then that's it. Thank you very much. Yes. Oh yeah. You did it perfect. Okay.
Oh my God.
That's who we love and who we serve.
Yes.
It's running out? Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown saying stay with it and hit it. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, hey Alan, how are you doing this day? And we'll let people know. Tomorrow night I have land up. Uh, I did in this. I did a 3 day. It's called a 72 hour and then 4 day type of fast where you fast for water fast for 72 hours and then then you eat for the 4 days and whatever. And so I did some videos on that. So I'm gonna air the
I
first
saw,
one tomorrow night.
I saw that. So, folks, stay tuned on how to fast the blind way.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So I got that up, and then I guess I'm gonna do like one a week for the next 3 weeks. Probably on Wednesday. We'll just keep throwing it up there on Wednesday and stuff like that. And then also, oh man, let's see. Then I got some other shows that I've been holding back. Interview at KLZ Radio, and then as we can, we'll do some live shows, but it'll be in the morning because my morning will
Yeah,
be
the time
no your morning.
differential.
See, your morning would be my afternoon. So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so that'd be
Yeah, so
cool.
the time differential from where you'll be in lovely wherever it is you'll be
Yeah,
will be significant. So if we do a few live shows, they'll be 9 a.m. in the morning or
so, yeah,
somewhere
somewhere in there.
thereabouts.
Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. Maybe even eight in the morning.
That'll be
Well,
fun.
yeah.
You can
We'll
watch
be.
me make my coffee in the morning. Ladies
Oh
and
yeah.
gentlemen, you're on InnervisionFM.com, and we have got some fun show tonight for you.
Oh
Some
yeah.
newsworthy stuff really transpired last night directly after we did our broadcast. Looks like Roe versus Wade is going to be possibly changed
Overturn
in
overturn as a
overturned.
federal yeah,
Yeah.
because I wish they would just put something on the tax thing saying, do you opt in or opt out of paying for other people's mistakes?
And that's just the interesting part of it is the idea that it's more than can you or can you not or should you or should you not. The morals in that. Well, that, yeah, that's a hard
Hmm.
subject. But when you're talking about somebody's pocketbook, that sometimes does tend to wake people up more than an actual human life, which is interesting in its own interesting way. So
And you know what
I don't know.
I'm beginning to think with these people. Okay, like right now, I just heard this guy. He was on a talk show, and he said he drove by the Capitol, and so he's seeing people lining up down there to protest. Uh, uh, some people have a sign called saying uh, "cat power," which they use the p
Sure.
word instead of,
Right.
and then the other one is saying, you know, I'm pro this and pro that, and so they're already lining up. Well, I guess everybody has to get in on the what do we have to call it? Protest or protesting, and then I know what's his name, Chucky Boy. when he was out in front of the Capitol in 2020, threatening the Supreme Court that they better vote the way that his gang of merry men said to vote, or there would be trouble. And you know what? I keep wondering, like,
Well, you titled it this way that, the disciples of Jesus, there were 12 of
yes.
them.
Mm,
I guess there's a number of clerks that help out the Supreme Court justices and
mm,
whatnot, and
yeah.
and it appears that it could be possible that the leak came from one of those folks. That'd be the case if that were to have happened, because there is an actual deliberation phase in trying to determine whether that's what the Supreme Court really wants to have done. Why,
Mm,
we're not going to know for a couple of months. And so this leak has really caused potential potential things
mm.
to maybe transpire. So I just would say, pray, stay safe,
and
and
and they
understand
couldn't. Also, they couldn't rally up their troops based on the failed policies of this regime.
exactly.
They couldn't say, "Well, hey, look at the gas prices. Well, look at those gas prices." And I can't remember the name of the comedian who he's a millionaire. Okay, he's a millionaire, and this comedian says, if they raise the gas prices up to $15, I won't mind paying that. And I'm thinking, and people clapped for this comedian who said that he would pay the $15. And I'm thinking, like, how many average Joes, can afford to pay $15 for gas? But and so I just think that these people, they have to find something to rally their troops, to make it not such a red wave. But we'll see if this lasts in the news cycle beyond next week. You know.
We'll see what does transpire. Bottom line is, as things do heat up, and as the supply chain shortages and these types of real world issues do take center stage, I have no idea what's going to transpire with any of this stuff. I do have to wonder if those that, have chosen the hardline stance of what they've chosen, if they happen to be grateful that their parents chose not to take the choice that they're backing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I put in those two scriptures of Exodus
1:16 and
1:16,
Matthew 2:16, and
and they
those
both,
two.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, no. Well, the first one, it's kind of interesting because Pharaoh was saying to the Hebrew women, when they are having their babies, if you see that it's a boy, just grab the boy baby and throw it in the water and drown it.
Right, right.
And you could tell that this Pharaoh, I,
You kind of ladies.
I don't know what reality he was living in, but maybe being a king, you say, hey, I give life, I can take life away, whatever. But
Well,
it was two midwives that said, no, we're not going to do what King Pharaoh says, and we're not going to be throwing the boy babies in the ocean, just because King Pharaoh says so. And I don't think a lot of people read the Bible. So they don't. I mean, it's so many different, like, real life stories that they tell that we can't imagine it today. But now we're living in that reality of what was happening back then. Is now more technologically it's happening today. And I guess every 100 years, every generation gets a chance to get tested to see just how far down this rabbit hole they'll go.
that's
Right?
absolutely. And everything is cyclical. That means that on some way, shape, or form, all the things that have happened will continue to happen. There is nothing really new that's under the sun.
Hmm.
Some even believe that does extend to our current technological stance.
Hmm.
Some of the ancient folks may have had technology which was somewhat comparable. Look where they're at, and
Hmm.
look where we're headed. If we don't look at things differently.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And
it's interesting because there are certain organizations that will give these women $4,000 to fly them to places to get stuff taken care of.
Oh yes, yeah. Now that's interesting. Uh, okay, it's like they won't. Okay, in some countries they have like paid vacations, and sometimes you can take maybe like 2 3 weeks off, and they have paid vacation. But
Right.
this one company, I said they must be rolling in the dough to pay up to $4,000 to send a woman off to kill her baby. And I said, wow. I said, maybe what if a woman just say, I'm gonna kill my baby, and the guys they send him off to with $4,000, and then she says, oh, and she lies and says that she did it, but it was really a vacation.
It's
I
interesting
can see that
because
kind of fraud.
I was watching some of the protest stuff last night going on, and it was outside the courthouse there, or wherever it was. I'm not really sure actually
Mhm.
where that protest was, but being blind, you can pick out words out of a video that normally people wouldn't be able to pick out. Things like
Mm.
this, and so I mean, I got to hear a little bit of the reasoning behind why it's important for folks to have that pro-choice option.
Mhm.
The idea being that the the children are perhaps an afterthought, or perhaps a mistake, or perhaps there's a defect. Like my blindness. Let's just pretend,
Mhm.
and the 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 woman would be encouraged strongly to help out the community and to get rid of that.
Wait
To
a minute. Hey,
just go
let's walk this scenario. Okay, the baby's born because right here in Colorado, the baby can be born and you can kill it, right? So
right,
this is a scenario. Baby comes out, eyes are messed up. So the doctor
right.
goes to the mother and says, "Well, ma'am, you have a baby here, but the eyes are messed up. Should we kill it or should we let it live?" And the woman says, "Oh, go ahead and kill it." So the doctor goes back in, stick the scissors behind the head, clip, and the baby's dead because he couldn't. He was born with defective eyes,
Mm.
and that's pretty much the scenario here in Colorado. And Governor Northrum's down there. I forgot what state he's from, Virginia or whatever.
Virginia.
That's yeah, that's the scenario that he put together. So, and then Margaret Zinger, who was the founder of Planned Parenthood, and her first thought that she wanted to kill as many black people as possible before, and so she got with the black preachers and said,
Who was
um,
that, sir?
Margaret Zinger.
Sanger.
Yeah,
Margaret,
Snger.
our church, the pastor Mercy Culture Church talked about how, that was the case, but people talk about people keeping their kids, but I don't see anybody giving these people money or helping them, you know, give their kids a better life. Some people have abortions for various reasons. Like me,
Right.
of course, I was able to give my child up for adoption. I didn't, kill my child, but everybody may not have that option or get accepted into these places where they do that, because you have to follow rules and there are certain things to even get accepted through adoption.
yeah,
That is
Um,
a very good point to end up bringing up. There is no real right answer other than all lives matter. So all these organizations that have cropped up over the years, especially the most recent one, where they talk about a certain demographics lives mattering. Well, certainly they matter, but all lives matter, whether they be children or whether they be
yeah.
uh, of a
And,
whatever.
and I think about these guys because I sort of like I sometimes I think about this because okay, before we had the pill and all this other stuff, I think there was like some guys that were thinking like, how could I get past a woman saying, "Oh, I might get pregnant. I shouldn't do this," and so it was really motivated by guys who are nerds who say, "Okay, how can we get past that?" So they developed the pill, and so they say, "Okay," women say, "Oh, I might get pregnant," so you say, "Well, take the pill." So that wasn't good enough, right? So go ask Alice. That wasn't good enough. So then they say, okay, so let's figure out another way. Okay, you can kill that baby and we can have sex. So if we have sex and you have a baby, and it seemed like this is more of a guy thing, because the guy said, oh, I don't want to wear a condom because it doesn't feel right and all that kind of stuff. And so, hey, let's just do it this one time and you won't get pregnant. And if you do, you can either, if the pill doesn't work, you could either, and it seemed like the guy puts it all on the woman, and a woman with someone human growing in your body, the guy puts it all on her, and the woman, and because the guy, guys will go out and to war and kill and whatever, and he thinks, well, a woman can handle that stuff just like, and some guys can't handle that's going out and killing other people in a war as well. And so 62 million, deaths, and then 32% of those deaths are these killing centers within the black community. I just think that there's another
But do you think
plan.
do you think people are forced? Because people aren't forced to, like, 'cause I was asking this, lady, because they, for a lot of Fort Worth and some parts it's very impoverished, but a lot of people are doing that because they want to. And when it comes to abortions nowadays, you're not forced to do that. Yeah, the centers in your neighborhood, but you're not forced to go there, just like it was a health group telling people not to eat meat anymore. Well, McDonald's, for example, like being there. Well, the health food group didn't want that. So that's what I was saying. It's a choice.
Yeah.
Here's a possibility.
Go ahead.
Possibility is just this. Let's just look at it this way. There's a point which we all look out at. We'll call it the Overton window. It's a big fancy psychological word for the way that we view reality. Now, if we allow for that reality point to shift further one way or another way, whether it be conservative or whether it be over to the left, too far, what ends up happening is society as a whole and as a norm ends up having to adjust its paradigm. And there's a lot of things that go into that.
Okay, let me put this out. If something's good, you shouldn't have to lie about it. And I remember when they first started this Roe versus Wade, they said that it was just a blob. It didn't feel anything. And then when we got the sonar, we found, and they would show the abortion. They would show the doctor clipping at the baby and the baby flinching as it felt pain. But these people who are for it, they said they first lied to us and said that it doesn't feel anything. And that goes along with Dr. Fauci when he had these experiments done with these little beagle dogs. They would put the beagle dogs in this cage and put these flesh-eating flies around it, and the scientists, they didn't want to hear the dogs cry, so they cut out the tongue. Allegedly. So it seems like, when the baby is quietly inside the womb where you can't hear the screams, that's okay with these people. And I'm just saying, like,
but what other options? I mean, from a woman's standpoint, a lot of women would say, okay, well, if abortion's not legal, then I'm going to do it illegally. So people always have found ways to do stuff, right? And I don't want somebody doing it illegally either.
Okay, they'll still have. Okay, one thing about this, people keep increasing. This is just taking it off the federal level. Each state can make up their own law. Like I said, Colorado, they say the baby can be born, and you can still kill the baby. Right? It doesn't matter if it's like
that in Texas.
Well, no, that's the way. In New York, California, and Denver, the baby can be born. The doctor will go to the mother saying, well, your baby has maybe a defect, blind or whatever, or your baby is perfectly normal. Do you want us to kill it or not? And the woman says, go kill it, and you go back and you kill the baby. That's what it is in Colorado.
One final point topic is this: with the border being porous and open as it is, and it appearing that even the senators that blast the current secretary over the border there, Mayorkas,
Yeah.
Yeah, even though he gets blasted for it, and he probably figures, well, maybe there's some stuff that I could do better. There's maybe nothing I could do better. I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know what's in his mind, but I do know that with, oh man, 2 million people being set to show up over the next number of months, it's going
And
to change the face of.
they're gonna take jobs. They're gonna be here. I mean, I'm kind of figuring out how much research. Okay, so we're moving on to like the America and the border and all the people that are coming in illegally, and it's driving away a lot of the Hispanic or Mexicans that did it legally, and now they're seeing like how the border is being open, and all these people who should have been in back of the line are now jumping in front of the line, and with the sex trafficking and the fentanyl and the gang related people, along with the people who are just coming here to change their life, we're gonna figure like how many people can this country hold before the food supply and we already know the gas supply is going down because of the policies of this administration. So
It's kind of
we're gonna figure out
thing.
like how long, how many months or years will it take before it's too much, and then you got these people who live on a different type of because some of these places they release the criminals from the prison and they say, hey, go over to America, go to America, and I heard in the last rally that the people that killed just innocent people, and we have enough knuckleheads here in America without taking somebody else's knuckleheads and then them coming and causing havoc. And then we brought all these unvetted Afghanistans who weren't supposed to be on that plane. We got them here. So when are we going to have the first car bomb or the first house bomb or first, I don't know, what vest wearing person walking into a crowd and blowing themselves up over here because we let in all these people and we didn't vet them.
It's great
And
that you bring Johnny, because that Overton window I was telling you about earlier. Once something becomes normal, and one becomes okay, and five becomes all right, and then 1,500 becomes fine, and pretty soon it's just an everyday occurrence.
yeah, and to me, I like living in a country where people are not walking with vests into a crowd and blowing themselves up. I mean, that
Well, right.
that may
In
be a
law,
norm in their
domestic
country.
well,
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
And
Yeah, and talking about and not seeing it come, it's gonna it's just getting kind of bizarre where we're going, and the end game is to fundamentally change the United States of America, and that was said
forever.
by Obama that he wanted to fundamentally change the United States of America, and nobody asked him what does that mean. We just said, "Hey, that sounds good. We're going to fundamentally change the United States of America," and not realizing that means open borders and a lawlessness. And I was arguing with this lady who's running for, I don't know, she's running for car, and she says, well, then we should just stop paying all police, we should just stop paying all doctors, all this. And I said, no, if you have corruption in those fields, you have psychological testing of these people like every year to see where they are, and if they're not psychologically able, then you take them off the streets and you work with them until they can either go back or find another profession, and you develop a statewide United statewide database so they can't move from this state to another state and then continue with their psychological problems. And that's the one thing problem they have with if you have a bad police over here, he can get fired, go to another state, and then continue on being who he was in the other state. Or if you had a doctor who, well, I think with the medical, I think if you get your license pulled, you just can't go to another state. So I think that should be the same way with like if you have a defective policeman, not just defund everybody for just one or two people who are defective mentally in the
Yeah,
mind.
and I guess for me, I never, for me, never said that I would like defund the police. And a lot of people get like the Black Lives Matter stuff. Like I've marched in those marches. Not everybody in Black Lives Matter is trying to destroy stuff, break property. Not all of us are doing that. And I know I'm not, because I'm not. I'm sorry, but as a black person, I'm not wearing Donald Trump stuff. I'm trying. That's not me. I don't judge people for who they believe in or none of that stuff, because I don't care if a person's Democrat or Republican. What I care about is how a person treats me, and that's what we have to get back to. But the way politics have gotten people screaming, yelling, I'm like, nope, that's not for me, because
Absolutely right. And there is one thing that actually does unify everybody, Republican or Democrat, and that is actually music. And
Yep.
last week or so, April 29th, I guess it was, Dreamland Music was in town, and you guys launched. Was that right, Johnny?
Yeah, we did the concert last week, and
There
what
was
I
a little
what
get along, it looks like.
it was a little hitch in there. What I try to do is I try to send the artist like the time they have to be there for the sound check and everything like that,
Right.
and then I forget about it. I just send the information, say
Sure.
be here at this time, and then they have to work out, getting off work early and stuff like that. Well, I guess when I typed in 8 o'clock, 8:30, and I hit save, it didn't save the time because I just got a call back. I just got a message back from the manager, and so it didn't save. So this time I'm gonna, next time I'm gonna make sure that I put the time in there, and it locks in and when it saves. And it's just a part of like me being a blind person using my screen reader and not getting the correct information. So, but he was gracious enough to say we can come back on the 26th of June, and we'll get the
Okay.
time slot of 8 or 8:30. So it was a little bit my fault. But the guys, when they got sound check was at 6 o'clock, they didn't get there until 6:15. But they were scheduled to go on at 7 o'clock.
Oh, my.
So that's why all the tickets that were from that concert will be accepted at the June 26th concert. And so fans, if you bought tickets for the concert, because it was a lot of people there, we'll reissue those tickets to you with the new date on it, and we got your email address, and we'll send out the new tickets for the 26th as soon as we got that locked down. So don't worry, you won't have to pay double again for the concert. So so we try to help everybody out, and mistakes will get made, So I want to be able to book a concert with these guys at the Mercury Cafe, which that is about $150 to rent that room, and so I'm sure that we can sell out that room. It's like it holds about 250 people. So that may be our next thing, instead of working through Afton and so forth, because I know how to book concerts just as easy as Afton, and getting a lineup of
I
groups.
wish I could be involved in some of the like events, like and speak at some of this stuff, but I'm in Texas, so I don't even know, how I could get.
Well,
Hey, Johnny J, he's crazy, man. He's busier than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, I guess it is. You just picked up another project as well. You're running for House District number 5 in Denver, and so that's got to be a big piece on the plate as well.
yeah, and I found out that my opponent, he runs a what is it called, a son what is that thing, that panel, those panels, those that gets the rays from the sun, solar panels. So he has one of the solar panel companies, and he's in the process of trying to pass a bill that will put regulations on the houses where they have to have these panels on the house. So he's going to make crazy money because that's the business as he's in. So he's using this office to enrich his family, and none of the Republicans are saying anything, and of course none of the Democrats are saying anything
Now, see,
because
this
it's
is interesting because I'll tell you, the government is actually subsidizing all of these solar programs. Now,
Just like didn't the government subsidize oil programs back in the day? When I studied oil, they did the same thing, and a lot of Republicans in Texas own and run oil. You know, they own a lot of that out here. Sure
oh
do.
yeah, definitely.
the as the solar energy starts taking off and people do replace their public service company with solar panels and actually quote start being able to sell that back to the power grid, then of course things are going to go to this quote green energy thing. One missing piece that is very important to remember is that fossil fuels cannot go away entirely ever. And that's simply because the materials that are being used currently in the construction of our products, many of the plastics, many of the petroleum products, obviously, they do come from fossil fuels. And so fossil fuels aren't just for burning in your car or burning in a barbecue, something like that. They also play a very large role in the very computers that we use.
And clothing. What about clothing? You have a bunch of
Clothing.
clothing and textiles.
Oh yeah.
So,
So
Yeah, and you have to also remember, like these windmills that they're talking about. They want to put all these windmills. These windmills take up more space than any gas station, and also they kill a lot of birds, and they have been known to kill some eagles that have run into these, our national treasure eagles. They run into these windmills and get killed as well. So I don't think these green people are thinking too clearly about the damage that they're doing to the environment. They just have this pie in the sky thought that this is what they want to do, and right now the green
but
energy is about 2% of the energy.
but
Now
they're trying it with vehicles, right? Because cars,
electric.
and I think because so many people drive them, and I think they're not saying, "Hey, I want to get rid of gas or everything completely." They're saying driving in certain industries, we could try something else. I remember a guy said, I ran a van off of cooking oil, right? And it actually worked. He said there are other options. We're not going to eliminate gas or gas products. We're just not going to run it in vehicles where so many people have access to it. That's all they're saying.
Yeah. And they have to bring that price down because I know it's like the average electric car is about $56,000.
Yeah, it'll
So
come
you're
down.
gonna have to have a pretty good job to get that. And we have to look at like back in the day when televisions first came out. Now not everybody had televisions, and it took like a massive producing of those televisions before those prices came down. And then I remember reading about when horse and buggies were still around and it were competing against the cars, and people said, well, you want to drive that car, and horses are better form of transportation. So with every leap of technology, there's going to be some pushback with the new technology that's coming along. So
speaking of technology, with regard to the midterms and voter integrity here in the United States, there might have been some things that did take place back in the day, or there might not have been. Who knows? Who cares?
yeah,
Really? Honestly, who cares? What we want to do is we want to make sure it doesn't happen this time. And
right.
so in the midterms, whatever side you're on, Republican, Democrat, right in the middle, it doesn't matter. Get on out there and vote. Get involved at the local, state, federal levels in
Yeah.
whatever capacity that you can get into before the midterms, are upon us. And do follow your friends, do follow your neighbors, make sure that, folks are informed.
And go vote. Voting's
with
coming up,
this,
right?
Yeah,
yes,
in
with
some
this,
a lot
go
of
ahead.
states, a lot of
The
different states.
7th, the 7th is the last day to vote, right? I think it's somebody's telling me here in Texas, the last day is the 7th.
Yeah, in different areas, and then my nomination comes up in November the 8th. So I got a little while to get out there and campaign and debate with my opponent Alex Valdez. So it's gonna be interesting. So anyway, so later I'm gonna be out for a while, but we'll be back and we'll probably be doing the shows in the morning time because where I'm gonna be is on the in another
Oh
location.
wow.
Um, but then I'll be airing shows in the evening that I've saved up over the next few weeks here. But we'll also be
Okay.
coming on live, and you get the announcements that when we're gonna do live. So it might be like like close to like 9 o'clock in the morning because it'll be my evening and then America's day as we go out there and looking for some more. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, want to thank everybody for joining us, and we had a great we had a big audience yesterday. So if don't forget to subscribe and like the show because that helps the algorithm. Don't forget to go to our paypal.me/Innervision Denver. That's
Yeah, and put your
paypal.me.
YouTube in
That's
there, and
put
I'll
what?
subscribe. Put your YouTube in there, and I'll subscribe. Yep.
Oh, okay. We'll do that as well. So we'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and we'll see you
On the
next week. Really? Yeah. Okay.
The link, and I'll get on. Drop your YouTube, and I'll share. Get on there tonight and subscribe.
All right. Thanks. All right,
Drop me the link. I'm looking for it. So I can subscribe. Yeah, thank you. Well, okay.
thanks. Okay.
You got my email, and I should.
Yeah.
Nah, see it in there.